Good evening, good evening. This is Gregory Sane and Minister Michael Muhammad, the New Black Leadership Coalition. We are here live, our first show on CAN TV. And let me just say, let's thank this organization right here for giving access and opportunities for folks to come on and bring information to the community. And as we said before, we got on this show, and we said it last night, it's really about trying, not just trying, but being deliberate in what we have to say when it comes to the issues, the struggles, the challenges in our community. It gives me great privilege and honor to sit here with Minister Michael Muhammad, the founder of the New Black Leadership. And we're going to get deeply into what that is. Last night we had a very spirited conversation while we were on intellectualradio.com, and you can check that out. It's on YouTube if you want to go back and replay that. But right now, we are live right here in the studio, and let me just say this for the record. We do not take any prisoners. We call a spade a spade. And I said this to you all. It's really time. And you know, I've listened to shows and I give our people credit for bringing information to you. And it's just unfortunate that our folks is getting it from everywhere. And when you look at the condition of our community, when you look at the youth, when you look at the unemployment rate, when you look at the divorce rate, when you look at just all these negative numbers. I mean, the data on ex-offenders, you know, trying to rebuild their life and come back into the community. They are discriminated against. I mean, it's just across the board. I mean, people leaving Illinois. I mean, the problem just go on. And I, as a person who grew up in the Robert Taylor homes, individual that understands the plight of black people, I mean, you gotta be disturbed and you gotta be very, very upset with the fact that the leadership, so-called leadership, has really failed the people. And Minister Mike last night, and I hope you repeat that, went into the whole psyche of these individuals that we have called leaders. They're not leaders. Unfortunately, they are disguising themselves. They are hustlers. We've had hustlers. See, a hustler is someone, they show up everywhere because there's money involved. And they have sold them souls. I mean, they have sold their souls to the degree for very little or nothing. And it was amazing the observation that you made last night about the same rotation of individuals that are at these galas. The same people at the Urban Leagues Gala. The same people at the NAACP Gala. The same people at Operation Push. The same people at this one, that one. We're going to come to the callers in a few minutes. And for those who don't know, the number is 312-738-1060. Let's go ahead and take the first call, and then we're going to come back. Hello, caller. How are you doing? Hello, caller. How you doing?
I'm not talking about you gentlemen per se. The problems that we have in our community, and they don't want to teach children really history. Look what Mahatma Gandhi did, all right? He filled the jails. When we started, I'm talking about filling the jails in the other different way. If we started going down on LaSalle Street, start hitting Commerce, start hitting them in the pocketbook, I bet you, you know, when Best Buy and when what that other place, Macy's, they started calling and they can't conduct business, start talking to the mayor, hey, we got to do something about it. If we want all this murder on our streets to stop, look what the Hispanics did one day and how they interrupt traffic in the city of Chicago. We need to do something like that. Quit talking about it, just start doing things. Quit being a bunch of wimps and retire certain problems.
Thank you, brother. So I don't know if that was a call from the last show, but let me just say this about the violence and the boycotting and showing up downtown and wherever. Really, we got to find out who's who has integrity, who understands the real strategy that it's going to take to change the plight of our people, man. This stuff is historical. I mean, and you cannot deal with this unscientifically. You cannot. There's a science, man, that must be applied to deal with it. I mean, there are a lot of different parts, but right now we are talking about new black leadership. New black leadership. And you're a leader, and I just want to make that perfectly clear that leadership comes from within. But there are individuals who have been spokespersons. And I mean, we heard that last night that somebody said that when Reverend Jackson and Sharpton and went into Ferguson, the people chased them out. Well, people are fed up with folks disguising as though they care. They want to do something about it. Man, you know, people are questioning your integrity right now. Are you really that individual that want to see people get up from this condition? So anyway, Minister Mike, I mean, last night, it was unbelievable in terms of establishing what the new black leadership is all about and why a new black leadership.
Yes. Well, that's really the question, because when we use that title, New Black Leadership, we need to understand that, as the colloquialism goes, some people attribute it to Albert Einstein, and the scholars are not sure if he actually said it or not, but the axiom is still true. Anytime you repeat the same behavior, expecting a different outcome, and that outcome stays the same, and then you go back to the same behavior and expect a different outcome, then that is a mark of an irrational mind, or some say insanity. And so we have models of leadership that almost all of them have led in the or develop or come up with a result that leads to the self-aggrandizement, self-enrichment, self-empowerment of those particular leaders, while the community continues to suffer and their suffering continues to intensify. And so the New Black Leadership Coalition is an effort to study the mistakes of many of our leaders and study the successes of other leaders and see if we can build on the successes and learn from the mistakes and begin to set up an example of leadership that will carry us into the future, producing results, not for individuals, but for the collective suffering, hurting masses of black people in particular, who always seem to wind up at the bottom of every stratum of society.
I know we have a call, and I hope this is in relationship to the need for new black leadership. Hello, caller.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Do you think part of the problem is the lines are being blurred between leadership among elected officials and pastors?
Did you hear that question?
Yeah, I heard that question. Well, I think that's a relevant question, caller. In my assessment, I think that we need spiritual leadership. And some of that spiritual leadership, some of the pastors we have are spiritual leaders. But the problem is that sometimes we have bad spirituality, or I should say bad theology. And sometimes our theology confines us to the spiritual space where we're preoccupied with praying, we're preoccupied with praising, we're preoccupied with the rituals of religion, and we absent ourselves from being informed, educated, and engaged with the body politic that governs the day-to-day lives of our flock. And so there are many of us who come from the clergy class, if you will, who are weak when it comes to advocating when it comes to policies and practices of government and other so-called secular institutions. And so when they enter into that domain, they're easily compromised because they don't have a warrior spirit. They haven't learned how to advocate on the social and political stratum in the same way they may know how to appeal to the spirits in the spiritual realm. And so I take as a good example the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who emerged from the church, who was very theologically sound in terms of Christianity, but he was also very politically and socially sound in terms of his desire, his love, his empathy and sympathy for the hurt of his people, and his willingness to be courageous in fighting and ferocious and advocating for the uplift of his community. I think that is the model we must use if we are Christians, and certainly if we're Muslims, we have a shining example in Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Excellent. We got another call on the line. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. What's your question or comment?
Yes, I'm very interested in the rise of this Donald Trump candidacy, and I just want you guys to comment on how we should combat that, because you know that comes from the 1% of this country. We know that instead of trying to do a politician, they're trying to get somebody that they think that they can use to try to push this knocking out the middle class and the things that they're doing against the people that's non-white in this country. And I'm gonna hang up and I just want to hear you guys comment.
Let me just say, between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, 6 in one hand, a half a dozen in the other one. Matt Dillon, Bob Dylan, a wolf and a fox, dark and light. There's no different. That's all a smoke screen. I mean, that don't really matter, man. See, when you look at black people in particularly, we got a group of people telling us that our whole existence and life, blood, and what goes right or wrong is in voting. And then you got people in Winnetka, they might not even go to the poll because they tell the politicians what to do. They are the influentials. We are going to those that have labels and titles, authoritarians, who really don't call the shots. The special interest group's going to tell all of them what to do. So we get sidetracked on this whole thing with Hillary and Donald Trump. They buddies. They buddies. It's a show.
That's right. And I would like to agree with you on that, Brother Gregory. I think that as Americans in general, we have been dumbed down. We are the most illiterate, most ill-informed, most superficial electorate in the world. And so we're hyped up over some rhetoric coming out of Donald Trump's mouth, a man who has never held office, and we have no way of knowing what he will actually do, because all politicians and all those who run for office tell you one thing and do another. And that's why we cannot get more hyped up and excited about Donald Trump than we are about Hillary Clinton, who was involved with some of the most belligerent policies with regard to the black community in modern history. The Clintons have locked up more black people. Their policies have locked up more black people than any other president. Their policies have assassinated more black leaders on the continent of Africa and Asia than any other leader, except maybe Obama. Their policies have kicked more people off of the welfare system, mothers who were struggling to take care of their children. I mean, if we go down the line, they have raped the American economy through the savings and loan debacle and other business dealings they have. If you really do the homework on the Clintons and their practices, policies, and relationships, you will understand that you are looking at a true blue devil. And you can't say that about Donald Trump other than the rhetoric that he's saying. So maybe he will be that. Maybe he will have evil practices and policies. But we know for a fact that the Clintons have all... Look, Hillary Clinton applauded Margaret Sanger, who was for the total extermination of black people. You got to look at the background of the Clintons, man. You're going to get excited over Beelzebub and go vote for Satan. So it makes no sense the way we are overreacting in this knee-jerk reaction about Donald Trump. Black people have always been on the bottom rung of every political administration that has ever existed in America since George Washington. So we're looking in the wrong direction. So our effort here as the New Black Leadership Coalition is to talk about how we solve our own problems and not to worry about a white savior coming to deliver us. We're in our own way. We're our own worst problem. We got to stop worrying about what other people outside of the community are going to do to us and deal with what our leaders are allowing to be done to us and what we're allowing our own leaders to do to us. That's where our focus has to be. Because we've had a black administration for 8 years. 8 years. Point to one thing that he has done to elevate or radically change the condition of poor black people in this country. I defy anybody to call here and point to one thing that a black president has done in 8 years that has uplifted black people from poverty, unemployment, upgraded even their health status. All of this hype over the Obamacare. This has not helped black people. Come on. We're too emotional. We don't have enough depth of thought and breadth of understanding of what politics is all about and how to empower ourselves within the structure that exists in this United States of America.
And politics without economics is symbol without substance. So you can have all the people in office you want. That's just symbolics. We need substance. We need to change our thinking, our behavior. Charity starts at home. What politician is going to tell us to clean up our block, clean up our house, clean up our room, clean up ourselves? Speak to your brother, speak to your sister, treat your family better, treat yourself better, treat your wife better, treat your girlfriend better. Talk to your children. Go and check on your neighbors. You don't need a politician for that. You don't need a politician to tell you to garden. You don't need a politician to tell you to grow your own food. You don't need a politician to tell you to eat right. You don't need a politician to tell you to exercise. See, right. Basic stuff that's going to help us survive. Not somebody in office. That doesn't change your thinking. We've had a bunch of them. We got some now.
That's right.
But unfortunately, you said something last night that was profound in terms of the mindset of many politicians and of why they really look up to, and it's just the truth, who they look up to.
That's right. That's right.
And you, Mike.
Well, hit the caller, and please don't be offended, caller, because I understand this is the prevailing mindset right now. Oh, we got to worry about Donald Trump. Oh, we got to be excited about Donald Trump. Let's relax for a minute. Realistically, Donald Trump has not said anything that millions of whites, particularly in the South, when you look at the last two presidential races, you could draw a line almost identical. You could match almost identically state for state the states that were voting for Obama versus the states that were not for Obama along the same state lines that ran through the Civil War. So this mentality Donald Trump is expressing is not new. We got to understand, we got to calm down with the emotions and get a little more critical in assessing what's really going on and focus on developing our own quality leadership that will not sell us out for their own personal aggrandizement, will not lead us to the virtual gas chambers and look the other way while they ride away in a Bentley smoking stogies.
Wow, we got another caller on the line. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Oh, hello. Hello?
We just have a few more minutes, so
calling
what's your
to find
comment or
out-
question?
I beg your pardon?
What's your comment or question?
Oh, I just wanted to know if you have a phone number or a website that I can contact you.
Yes, please friend us on Facebook, please. We're trying to establish that as our contact base right now. So we are on Facebook at New Black Leadership Coalition. The New Black Leadership Facebook.com, the New Black Leadership Coalition. You can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You know, it's so important that, you know, I know many of you all that read scriptures, when it say loosen Satan, it's like a grip. And the grip is the mindset of waiting on a mystery God. That hasn't happened yet. Nobody has come back to do anything for us. It's really about the present and what we're going to do with the knowledge that's already here that many of us deny, run away from, that could save our life, that could change our condition. And you know, that's critical.
That's right. And before we sign off the air, because I know time is short, I want to appeal to all of those of you who are out there who are community activists. You organize your block, you organize your family, you lead organizations, or you're in leadership of an organization, or you're thinking about running for elective office. Please like us or friend us on Facebook. We're going to be providing some in-depth leadership training, civic and otherwise, and we're going to be casting a broad net, trying to pull all of those activists, organizers, and potential leaders under this net who have an interest in the self-empowerment of black people, that we can get our equitable share starting right here in Chicago and in the state of Illinois. So if you're that person, make sure you friend us and inbox us on our Facebook page at facebook.com, the New Black Leadership Coalition.
And remember, on Monday nights, intellectualradio.com. We are there Monday nights at 10 o'clock for 1 hour. And Minister Mike, I am so glad that you mentioned all those organizations. And we have some current members right now that will come on the air.
That's right.
It's so many that I can't even name them before
That's right.
we go off the air. So anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. And don't forget, you're a leader. And you got to stop waiting on these same individuals that have not at all served us properly. They have not. We're thankful for those that have. And we could say that we thank Marcus Garvey. We thank the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We thank Noble Drew Ali.
That's right.
You know, we thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We thank Dick Gregory. We
right.
thank Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture.
Steve Coakley.
We thank Fred Hampton,
Palmer, yes.
Lou Palmer. See, some real authentic leaders that have tried to make a difference. Thank you. Peace and love. See you next week. Same time, same station.